Bill Gates said, "I never did anything alone." And this guy's got a lot done. Y'all know who it is. It's your boy, the Earthling Gangsta. What's good, world? Today is Wednesday, which means that we are doing some strategy sessions. So in strategy sessions, we try to dig a little bit deeper and see what we can do to get more stuff done, see what we can do to accomplish our goals, see what we can do to get over some problems, right? So the past couple weeks we've been talking about what we can do to get more done in less time, right? We've talked about the 80-20 principle. So what 20% of your actions are bringing 80% of your results, what 20% of your actions are bringing 80% of your pains, right? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? How can you optimize off your strengths? How can you make a little shield around your weaknesses to get to spend less brain power on your weaknesses and more brain power on strengthening your strengths, right? So the thing is, once we find out what our weaknesses are, right? Once we find out what we're not strong at doing, we have two options. Well, we have a big option, right? Y'all see the title? It says, "Squad up like the Avengers." Okay, so how can you get your squad? Backtrack. The one thing that you need to do is you need to develop a squad. Like Bill Gates said, "I never did anything alone." If you want to double your results, you need more people. Studies have shown that like the average solo entrepreneur, the average solo person makes only about $50,000 a year. Okay, and there's trillions of dollars out there. That's not a whole lot. So what can you do to develop a squad that's like the Avengers? Okay, if you have a squad and you want to get more stuff done, you don't want an average squad. Okay, you don't want a squad that can't get stuff done. You don't want a squad that causes you more pain than gives you more pleasure, right? That's not going to bring the best results. So, in order for you to do this, right, we're going to dive into this book called Drive by Daniel H. Pink. Says the surprising truth about what motivates us, right? So, it's a New York Times bestseller, provocative and fascinating, right? So, what can you do to squad up and get a squad like the Avengers? Okay, so what this talks about is, in this book, he talks a lot about motivations and finding out what motivates people and what keeps people motivated. So if you're squadding up, right? So whether that's you're going to get business partners, you're going to hire people, or you're going to put people together for a project, right? You're an artist. A lot of art, a lot of shows demand collaboration, right? Back in the day, people thought that the biggest motivation, right? If you wanted to get somebody in your team and you wanted somebody to perform well on your team, the biggest motivation was helping them avoid pain, right? So using rewards and threats, right? So people will do more to get stuff done to avoid pain, and to some extent that's true, right? So there would be more punishments involved if your employee back in the day didn't perform at the rate that they were supposed to, right? So then we did a little bit more research and we found what they call Motivation 2.0. Okay, and in Motivation 2.0, they say that people, your employees, your squad, right, will perform better if you give them a reward, if you give them an incentive. So people perform better if you pay them more, or at the end if you give them candy, right? That's their biggest motivation. Then we do a little bit deeper, dig a little bit deeper, and now what we found out, and this is where we get into the real stuff. If you want to get a squad that's like the Avengers, right, you need to find a squad that people's biggest motivations is something within. Okay, so people are going to perform better in a project or on a team whenever that team or that project supports something that fulfills them spiritually or internally, right? So if your purpose, if my purpose is to put more peace into the world, and your company, your project talks about peace, then I'm going to perform a heck of a lot better than if I was working at a company that promoted negativity, but they paid me more money. So the thing is whenever you're looking to squad up, how can you find people? How are you? Long time no see.
I'm watching you and I'm like,
Yeah, oh, thank you so much. How can you find a squad of people that relate to you? How can you find a squad of people whose purpose is in alignment with yours? Okay, and so there's two types of people, right? In 2016, we're shifting to a whole nother world, right? So he talks about, who do you think is going to get you better results? So we have intrinsically motivated purpose maximizers and extrinsically motivated profit maximizers, right? So whenever you're trying to get a squad that's like in the Avengers, right? You want people that are motivated from the inside, right? I do something not necessarily for the car or the house or the money or all that fancy stuff. I do it because it fulfills me on the inside, right? And I am a purpose maximizer. So I want to maximize my purpose. If I want to put more peace into the world, then I got to go out and do something that's going to help me put more peace into the world, versus a profit maximizer who is doing something to increase profits just for money. So look at your squad, right? Or if you're working on putting together a squad, who is it? Who do you know that would be intrinsically and be an intrinsically motivated purpose maximizer? Put that on your list of people that you might want to work with, versus who do you know that is an extrinsically motivated profit maximizer? They're motivated by the wrong things, right? You want to squad up. Nobody, Bill Gates, once again said, I never did it alone. I never did it alone. We got to get a squad together. You got to go out into the world, find some people that you can team up with, whether you're going to be the leader or whether you're going to have a different position in that team, whatever. You got a purpose. If you got a dream, if you got a project, right? If you're trying to get something done, you got to put some people together. Brain power, right? We only have so much brain power throughout the day. Your brain runs off glucose. They say that within the first 6 hours, you've already depleted most of your glucose, so your brain it's harder for you to think and have more energy after your first 6 hours. So if you got to spend, me personally, I had to put a squad together, right? Your boy had to put a squad together. I noticed that editing, if you see down below, you see that Deyonte Jenkins edits a lot of my videos. Now he's my business partner as well, and he does some other stuff. He helps me send out emails, contact potential clients, perspectives, and he helps me kind of organize my business that I'm working on outside of this, okay? I hired somebody to edit one of my ebooks, right? Help me go through it, edit it, read it, tell him, give me some feedback, right? I hired an accountability partner, I send them my schedule and they make sure I complete my schedule, because sometimes, listen, I'm not perfect, okay? Sometimes I slack too, right? But I try to put together a squad like the Avengers, okay? A squad of people who have a similar purpose, have a similar reason, have a similar why, and want to get similar results. So we practice what we preach. This strategy session is extremely, extremely important. If you struggle to put together teams, if you struggle with teamwork, you are going to struggle in the world. One man, one woman can't do it all, unfortunately. So think about that. Intrinsically motivated purpose maximizers. Who do you know in your personal life that is one of these people, and how could you team up with them to achieve some kind of outcome? Preferably a big outcome. Dream big, right? So y'all know the drill. It's your boy, the Earthling Gangsta. We're just making strategies to get stuff done, to make people feel a little bit happier, to make people feel a little bit better, to put a little bit more art into the world, to put a little bit more creativity into the world, to put a little bit more positivity into the world. Every day you wake up, you look into the mirror and you say, I love you. Then you ask yourself, how are you going to master your movement? How are you going to make your mark? And how are you going to maximize your message? Blah. I used to do that whenever I first started vlogging, and I think I'm going to bring it back.